welcome to week 20 of Walk the Plank, the Perry Athletic Department podcast that will take a deep dive into the week that was Perry Athletics. Always joined here by my co-host, Mr. Gene Winters. Thanks for being here, Gene.
Yeah, another week filled with snow, but at least you were able to get some events in earlier this week.
Snow and cold, and that's one reason we are shooting this podcast on a Friday here. It's a Friday morning. We normally try to do this a little bit earlier in the week to get this information out there before the weekend's events and so on. Hopefully we'll get it out to you at some point this afternoon to be able to download and listen or watch us again on video. You can look us up wherever you get your podcasts. We've got everything worked out now with Alexa and Siri, and everybody is out there, got us out there, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Spotify, Apple Podcast, the through Amazon Music and everywhere. So yeah, the YouTube link, there's plenty of places to find this.
All right, and again, here we are. We had a shortened week of school. Monday was the holiday. Tuesday and Wednesday were calamity days due to the cold. Thursday was a sort of a catch-up day. Friday still a catch-up day, but here we are. So it's been, we didn't have any events Tuesday or Wednesday this week, but we'll sort of go back and recap the events of last week and then leading up into some big events this weekend here for Perry Athletics. And we'll start things off with one of our athletes of the week. She's sitting next to me here, Audrey Austin. Don't forget, we always want to thank DQ for us being a sponsor of our podcast. Each of our athletes here today will get a free meal deal and a blizzard at the Perry Dairy Queen location. Thanks to Marie and her staff down at DQ for always taking care of us. So Audrey, welcome in again. This is, I think, second time as Athlete of the Week, but your third interview with us here. We had John. You were our first. She was athlete number one, week one, Athlete of the Week as our girls tennis player. We interviewed you as you qualified for the state tennis tournament back in October, and then here you are again as a member of our girls basketball program, back for your second stint of Athlete of the Week. Welcome.
Thank you.
All right. Let's just talk a little bit about the season that has been, and we'll start sort of working backward and just get your views on the season so far. But our most recent game was last night out at Hawken, a 25-point win over the Hawks. And then last week that was the road game, obviously. And then the big game that stands out to me this year was that road game at Richmond Heights. They had come in to our place in December, beat us by 16, 18, 20. They took it to us there, especially in that first half. They hit all kinds of threes and sort of ran away with that game. And they had no losses in the league. They were our only loss in the league. We go on the road and we get it done. We upset them, if you want to say that. I don't know if it's considered an upset or not, but we smoked them. We sort of returned the favor and beat them by, ended up being a 12-point game, but we were up by 18, 20 points in the second half. Outscored them 17-3 in the third quarter alone. So I promise there's a question coming here. It's a lot of information, but let's just talk about that game specifically. What was your mindset as a team coming into that matchup?
Yeah, we knew that game was huge because that was like our one shot of competing for the CVC championship at that point. Just bouncing to next week, we have a huge matchup against Chagrin Falls where we have to at least win that to tie with Richmond Heights for the CVC championship. But, we knew that was our one shot at that game, and we weren't happy with our results the first time. So we just had a really good mentality going into it.
Well, that's a 5-game win streak for us. So we're sitting at one point, we're 5-5, we're a 500 team. Now, that said, we played some really good competition. Mentor, Canfield comes to mind. Chagrin Falls was a big road win for us. Now that we look back, as you said, for us to be able to compete for the CVC championship, we had to have that game, and now that looms even larger now that we were able to get that win. Now the Tigers will come back to us, as you referenced, next week on Wednesday the 29th, and that is a big CVC matchup for us. Gotta have it again.
Yeah.
Was that Richmond Heights game the most complete game? It seemed like you guys were doing everything right, both defensively, offensively, passing the ball really well. Was that the most complete game, maybe in your career as a varsity player?
I would say so for sure because Mr. Infalvi always emphasized playing a full 32 minutes rather than just 3 quarters. And I felt that game we were scoring the whole time. We were playing great defense the whole time. And you could just tell we were giving it 100 for the full 32 minutes. And it really showed at the end. So.
And Mr. Rockwell mentioned yesterday against Hawken, Geneva tomorrow. How difficult is it to prepare for a team in a day? I mean, you guys will have one practice today on Friday, and it's an early tip tomorrow.
Yeah. We had some like film posted on them earlier this week that was cut up. So I mean, I'm sure like some of us watched a little bit of that, but I mean, we're used to playing Geneva like twice a year every year.
Yeah.
I know they're a little different this year compared to last year because they graduated like a handful of girls, but we have an idea of what they run already. So today will really just be like repping what we're expecting tomorrow. So.
And then, is there anything, as I mentioned, we're on a 5-game win streak here right now, where we sit at 10-5. We're 4th in the top of the crop, the News Herald top of the crop. We've moved up pretty significantly from 8 to 4. I'm sure that Richmond Heights win had a lot to do with it. Is there anything in particular that you can put your finger on that has clicked for you guys as a team over those last 5 games?
I think we're just beginning to trust each other more on the court. You could tell like our ball movement and stuff has gotten a lot better. I think like our first few games in the beginning of the year, you kind of saw like the starting 5 players were playing almost the whole game, where now you put a sub in and they're able to play just as much time and do just as much as everyone else. So I think we're just clicking a lot better as an overall team and just trusting each other more for sure.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I'll ask you about your senior teammates in a minute, but I think over this last 5, I think the emergence of the 2 freshmen have also been a big key. So what has Emily and Sophie brought, coming off the bench for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, Emily's huge, one. Like, you could just throw it into her at the post, and even if she misses her shot, she's most likely getting fouled, and she's a great rebounder for us. And then Sophie just always gets after it all the time. She's always giving 100%, and she handles pressure really well. You would never think she's a freshman, like, when you see her on the court, so.
And as Mr. Winter said there, one of 4 seniors on our team. How long have you guys been together as a group, those 4 seniors playing together?
Well, just us, like, we've always played travel, so
Yeah.
we've been together since travel. And then even like, I don't remember if Ava was on our team, but like me, Roz, and Vic were on our very first like rec basketball team together too
Right.
in like first grade.
Wow.
So yeah, we've just always been playing together.
Quite a run together for sure. And it seems like it's coming together at the right time here as we approach the end of the season. Only a handful of games left. We've got senior night coming up as well, so I know that'll be sort of a bittersweet night. Hopefully we get a chance to host some postseason games, but potentially could be one of your last times on the court. What will that night sort of mean to you, or not that you're looking forward to it because it's sort of the end of an era, so to speak, but what is that going to mean to you, that senior night on February 5th against West G?
It's definitely gonna be a realization that
Yeah.
I'm almost at my last stretch of like high school sports. But I don't know. It's gonna mean a lot because it's gonna show how far we've come over the past few years.
Awesome.
And what is it like having your dad on the bench? Obviously, an assistant coach with Coach Infalvi, but having him there for your entire varsity career. Obviously, he was going to be there in the stands anyways, but
Yeah.
having him there on the bench, being able to help guide you and the other girls through each game.
He could be a little tough on me sometimes, but like I just love having him there. And it's nice because like even after games at home, like he will talk to me about a few things that I don't know, either did well or just like overall what he sees, which is always nice to just have that extra eyes on you. But yeah.
Does he know when to approach you and when to stay away, or
Yeah.
is there a dad moment and a coach moment? Two different messages maybe.
He's mainly in the coach mode, I think. So yeah.
All right. I think that's it, Audrey. I'm just excited that we're sort of hitting our stride. We've talked about this a number of times in different sports on this podcast, that our goal as coaches, as an athletic department, is to be sort of hitting our stride at the end of the year. You want to win games at the beginning of the year. That's all well and good. We understand that and we want that. But as the goal is we don't want to peak in December. To be peaking at the right time as we are playing huge games in the CVC and we're leading up to sectional and district level games. So we wish you nothing but the best the rest of this year. Division 4, I guess I'll end with one question. Have the coaches talked to you guys about what is different this year as far as divisional alignment? With 7, there are 7 divisions now in men's and women's basketball in the OHSAA. So are you intrigued by that at all, or we're just sort of like we're focused on the CVC right now, and this is where we're at?
I mean, I think right now we're just focusing on the CVC, just getting through this next week. But yeah, I know there's like 7 divisions. I'm not really sure what teams like fall in ours really. So that's like a discussion for soon.
Yeah, and it's going to be different. I mean, this is the first time doing it. The Martin RPI is being used as well. And again, maybe players don't even realize this, but it used to be where the coaches would vote on seeds and things like that for the postseason tournament. Now, your play speaks for itself. Your wins speak for themselves. And you are in a ranking. Each team is ranked. We're 11th right now, right, Mr. Winters? In our division, there's 46 teams in our division, so we're in the certainly top quarter of our Northeast district. And we'll just see where it goes. We get to pick 11th. We'll go on the board. That gives us the best chance to make a run into that postseason as best we can. So we won't make people go back to week 1 to hear your answers to these. Okay. We'll see. We'll just give you some questions again, if I can find my sheet here, on what some of your favorites are. We'll start with favorite food.
Right now, I'm going to go with sushi.
Okay. Was that different from week 1?
It was. I'm going to change all my answers.
Okay, you're going to change them up.
Yeah,
That's
give
good.
some more favorites.
There we go. Any particular play, like, do you guys make sushi at home, or you're getting it from somewhere? Where's a place to go to get sushi?
I like Ninja Sushi and Menor.
Okay. Favorite subject in school?
Math.
Math is still there. I remember that one. How about movie or television show?
I've been watching a lot of Law and Order lately.
Okay. Love it. How about favorite memory from high school? Not even high school. Perry Athletics. You mentioned rec in grade 1 all the way to now your senior year. What's your favorite?
I'm going to go with the Florida trip we went on my sophomore year for basketball.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was I was on that trip. That was pretty cool. I must admit that was a lot of fun. We got to play some. We went 2-1 down there. The girls went 2-1, right? We had some success down there, and the boys went 2-1 as well. It was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun.
Hobby? This is a new question since we've had you on last. Any hobby out there away from athletics? You're a basketball player, tennis player. Spent a lot of time in those arenas. What is Audrey doing outside of that, if anything?
In the summer, like me and my family like to go kayaking a lot.
Okay.
So
awesome. Well, can't kayak right now.
Right, I
but
know.
it's a little too cold. But that'll be fun in the summer.
Yep.
How about visit any place in the world? Money's not an object. Where are you headed?
Hawaii.
Hawaii. Okay. Was that the same answer or a different
No,
one?
it was different.
Okay.
Another.
All right. Well, good. You've got some places to visit then in the
Yep.
world. All right. Audrey Austin, our female athlete of the week here for week 20 of our Perry podcast. Audrey, congratulations
Thank
on a
you.
great season so far. And we wish you guys nothing but the best here as we move forward.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Audrey Austin, girls basketball is going to have, the Geneva game tomorrow is a non-conference game for those who are following along. It is not a CVC matchup. Audrey mentioned that they used to be in our division. They are not any longer, so we're still playing them in an independent contest. And then really the big one next week is Chagrin Falls on Wednesday night. So come on out. If you can't make it Saturday, come out Wednesday night and make some noise for the girls basketball team as we take on Chagrin and what'll turn out to be a really, really pivotal game as far as the CVC goes.
Yeah, only 7 regular season games remain, 5 of them coming at home. So plenty of time to come out and see the girls. And as you mentioned, if you can't make it tomorrow, that Wednesday game should be one that's going to be very exciting, a back and forth game, just like it was when the Pirates traveled to Chagrin Falls back in December. So yeah, that one I'm looking forward to. I know that has been circled on the calendar after Richmond Heights. That was that revenge game to get back, and then to hold your place within the CVC.
Yep. And then I know Chagrin will equally,
Yes.
Coach Anderson over at Chagrin does a great job, and she will have her team ready to go with probably some revenge on their minds. So we have to be leery of that. And we'll come out. I'm sure we'll execute and do the best that we can and let the chips fall where they may. And hopefully we can take care of the Tigers next Wednesday, again, the 29th of January. Speaking of girls basketball, we've got a championship game here today due to, again, some weather last week that prohibited Chagrin Falls and Geneva Middle School playing their game, their semifinal game. They couldn't do that until Saturday. All the other games final games were played here at Perry on Saturday. So now, almost a week later, our 7th grade gets a chance to take on Chagrin Falls here at 4 p.m. in the main gym. Again, whether or not you might have, it might be after 4 p.m. by the time you're listening to this on Friday, but our girls, both 7th and 8th grade, have had great years, and we're wishing our 7th graders good luck today against Chagrin Falls in that championship matchup.
Yeah, it's a nice little appetizer before the boys game, which we'll talk about later. But yeah, get out here and support the 7th grade. That, I mean, again, for them to get to the championship game, only playing and having 5 girls on the roster is an amazing feat that they've been able to accomplish to get to this point. And it's a good batch of 5 that they have.
Yeah, it really is, because if somebody gets hurt or somebody fouls out or whatever, I mean, you're playing with 4, and we've done that this year. So hats off to our coaching staff. Hats off to the girls themselves for making those efforts. They've got to be tired at some point in that game with no subs. So I'm excited to watch that game today and go down there and watch them compete. And we've got an announcer, I believe, and they get to play in the main gym and sort of get them ready to go for that next step when they're up here at the high school level in just a couple of short years.
Yeah, again, it's the first matchup with Chagrin Falls, which will be a couple coming up. I know the sophomore girls that are on the varsity roster have had that battle with Chagrin Falls when they were in the middle school.
Yes,
so
I remember those matchups.
You can continue that. I don't want to say hatred, but that rivalry between the two. Yeah,
definitely. And the Chagrin's got a great program. We feel strong about ours. And it even goes back to the days of travel. I give a ton of credit to our rec department, our travel. We've run a travel basketball program now for about the last 12 years. It was something that we started soon after I got here, and it's really paid dividends for us in basketball. It's helped us in soccer, travel baseball now, and softball is its own different animal as well. So all of those travel things do make a difference.
Yes.
So a quick shout out. I was talking to some of our travel and rec coaches earlier this week. Like, it does start there. And again, I don't really care what the sport is. Football, soccer, swimming has club sports, club teams in the area. It doesn't matter if you're starting at a younger age, 7, 8, 9 years old, and it doesn't mean it has to be your life where you're putting in 20 hours a week or something crazy like that at that young age. But the fact that you're starting to work on something that the kids love to do, that should be the number one thing.
Yes.
Do they love to do it? And if they do, let them go. Let them do what they want to do and take them to where they need to go and where they want to go, not where you want to go, Mom and Dad, where they want to go. And they're going to embrace it, and they're going to love it, and they're going to have a passion for it. And it puts us at a significant advantage, in my opinion, when they get to middle school and high school. We're not having to teach them in basketball how to dribble and how to pass and how to do those things. That's just one example, again, across the board in all sports. So thank you to all of our youth coaches out there. You are appreciated. You are respected, and because it helps us here at the middle school and high school level. So thank you for all those unsung heroes out there. They're not paid positions. No one's making money coaching youth sports. We appreciate their time.
No, and that's a good transition into the next one. Obviously, it was a big swim weekend last weekend with the CVC championships, and another trophy came home, and another nice run for the boys. Yeah. So with that said, we'll call up our male athlete of the week. Come on up, Jonathan. Jonathan Casala here is joining us from our boys swim program. Jonathan, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. There's your DQ certificate.
Thank you.
Make sure you put that to good use. I'm sure you will. But as Mr. Winters said there, last week, so we'll sort of work our season here in reverse, just like we did with Audrey. Last Saturday was our CVC championships out at Hawken. And our girls did win for the 6th consecutive year, so quite a run for our girls program. So hats off to Coach Scheider, and Coach Bush, and all of our girls on a 6th consecutive championship. Not often you can say that. Right. Where you've won 6 in a row. I've had very few sports in my time in my career, no matter where I've been, where somebody's won 6 in a row. So hats off to them. I think wrestling had a run similar to that in 13 or 14, but it's been a long time. So certainly an awesome accomplishment for our girls. And that said, our boys, you guys swim your tails off with only 6 swimmers. All right, so we came in second place, I believe, for the second year in a row.
Yes.
Did we come in second last year as well? Only this year 6 swimmers. So we have all these events. If you look at what the event lineup is for swimming, you look at all of the events, it's a daunting task to only do it with 6. How do you guys pull that off, Jonathan? And let's just talk about sort of that excitement around last Saturday and what it meant to you guys.
Well, it's always exciting for CVCs.
Yeah.
There's a big hype.
Yeah.
Let's get our 6th consecutive win. Let's get our
Right.
7th consecutive win.
Sure.
For the boys, we are small, so it's
Yeah.
kind of daunting to see all those teams there.
Right.
But we work really hard, and we bring it to CVCs,
Yeah.
and we get second place.
Yeah, it was an incredible run. I think, believe me, Coach Scheider, when I'm talking to him on the phone on that Saturday, because we had an award, there was an awards issue, and we're involved in that. So I've got to try to work this thing out. Not downplaying the girl. He was super excited that the girls were going to win again, but he was maybe even more impressed with what you guys were able to accomplish on that side with only 6 swimmers. And I know coming in second place, not first, but I'm assuming the other team probably had 18 or 20 kids in that program. So just an awesome accomplishment. Congratulations.
Thank you.
How do you stay fresh knowing that it's just the 6 of you going against 20? How do you keep try not to do more in the pool and just stay within your swim?
We just keep that in mind. We're a small team. We keep that in mind. So we try not to get intimidated by the bigger teams.
Yeah.
And we just focus on what we're going to swim that day, and we're focusing on swimming it well.
Awesome. Go ahead.
I was going to say, you have one of the best swimmers in the area with Brody Hicks here. Does that help, get you guys ready for these events? Because you see him in practice, you're swimming against him here, in the pool
Yeah.
every single day. Does that help you guys when you get into these big tournaments
Yeah.
or championships?
Absolutely, because, he gives us a lot of pointers. He helps us a lot because he's been on a bunch of different swim teams.
Yeah.
So he helps a lot.
That's awesome. And Brody, we'll talk about some of his accomplishments here throughout the program. We had some more records that he broke. What are your events? What are your specialties? Do you have, let's just start there. What events are you swimming on a meet by meet basis?
So I usually swim the 200 medley relay. I swim the butterfly length.
Okay.
I swim the 200 free.
Okay.
And I swim the 100 butterfly. And then usually I swim the 400 free relay.
Okay. So you got a lot of you got a lot of laps in there.
Yeah.
You got a lot of work to do. And now, do you have a favorite one of those that you've just listed, or do you have maybe one that's a little bit more favorite that you're not swimming?
I guess I'd say one of my favorites. This is gonna sound crazy for a lot of people. The 100 butterfly.
Okay.
I've worked really hard in trying to work on my technique and my stroke, so that's become my favorite.
Okay. Well, and Coach Scheider actually said, because we send out all of our coaches nominations on our athletes, and we want them to recognize somebody that's sort of been working hard and all of those things. And he mentioned that about your butterfly. He's like, he's really been busting his hump to get better and improve, and so he wanted to recognize you. So that's why you're here. So congratulations on that, and best of luck as you continue down that path. We've got senior night tonight.
Yes.
All right. So we've got 8 or 9 between our boys and girls, seniors, that we're going to recognize tonight. So again, if you're listening to this and we drop it at 4 or 5 o'clock and you want to come out to the pool tonight, chances are you might not hear this until after the fact. But it is senior night tonight. And let's just talk about this senior group. Boys and girls swim. You're sort of like one big team. I know we've talked about 2 different teams here so far today, but as a group, you guys have been together now, a lot of you, for all 4 years of your time here at Perry. What is it going to mean tonight for that senior night to take place, and are you looking forward to it?
I am looking forward to senior night. It's going to be a very fun meet.
Yeah.
We got to pick our events this time, so
That's
it should be
always
really fun.
That's always a tradition that we do. Yeah.
Yeah, it might be a little bittersweet
Yeah.
because this is one of the last times probably I'll be swimming.
Yeah.
And yeah, our seniors, there's a lot of us, so it's almost like half the team is going to be leaving.
It's crazy. I looked at the roster today. I looked at the program. Shout out to Mrs. Scales and the rest of the swim parents. They do, again, a little note behind the scenes that people may not be aware of. Swimming, very similar to wrestling, has to do a lot of work for us to host a meet. And we host a lot of meets.
Yes.
We're one of the few schools in Lake County that has a pool, and therefore we're a pretty popular place. If our PAC members are always sort of disappointed because we don't have open swim anymore in the evenings because we've got multiple teams in here, our practice, and then other teams using our facility, renting our facility for their swim teams. And so a lot of work goes in behind the scenes. The parents are timing the event. They're setting up. They're announcing event. They're just all the stuff to run a meet. It's a big undertaking. So kudos and hats off to our swim parents. And I know it'll be bittersweet for our senior parents tonight because they'll sort of be watching their sons and daughters move on. And we still welcome them back. If they want to come help, they're always welcome to come help. But I think after 4 years, they're also ready for a break from that. But again, I just wanted to give a quick shout out to our parents there.
So, John, what did you pick for tonight? Obviously, the 100 butterfly, but what else are we swimming?
So actually, I'm not swimming the 100 butterfly because as much as I love butterfly, it gets really tiring after a while. But tonight, I am swimming the 50 free
Okay.
and the 500 free.
Wow. All
How
right,
many
so
times
that's
back and forth for 500?
So back and forth is 10 times.
So 20 times.
Wow.
Yeah.
One way down. Yeah. Okay. I could do that once.
Yeah, right.
And I've said that from the beginning. Like I again, wrestling, swimming, and cross country, in my opinion, are toughest sports. And that's no disrespect to any other sport. They're all tough in their own way. But like when you're out there swimming 8 to 10,000 yards a day in prep for a race or for a meet, I just give our kids a ton of credit because it's a grueling thing to do, and I know something that certainly not everybody can do. So I give you guys a hats off there.
So what is the game plan then? How do you approach knowing that you have to go up and down 20 times? Like at what point do you try to get out to a big lead and coast? Do you take your time and then turn it on at the end? How do we gauge this?
So usually, from what I've noticed from other people doing the 500, you kind of start off slower,
Yeah.
and then as you keep going, you get a little bit faster and faster.
And how much of it is going to be coaching to help you get going, the crowd noise, your own mental clock?
It's probably going to be a lot of mental,
Okay.
especially because you have to keep going. You can't stop. Yeah, it's going to be a long one, and I'm prepared for that.
Okay, good. It's a long enough race that they have to, I believe, ring a bell at the last lap just to remind people, okay, you're here, because they've been swimming for minutes on minutes. So another footnote for tonight, too, is our senior night festivities will begin around 5:30, and we are going to live stream it. Mr. Kellogg and his crew will be there to live stream not only our senior night intros, but they're going to stick around for the meet. And we'll live stream that, and we'll shoot that out on our social media and on Twitter and X and all kinds of different things, Facebook, so people can watch. If they can't be here, hopefully they can join in virtually and take a look at our 2025 senior night for boys and girls swim. All right, so Jonathan, we're going to move into, I guess, what's next. And, obviously senior night tonight, we'll check that box. We'll move on. You guys are getting ready for some postseason stuff coming up. We've got one more dual meet, if I'm not mistaken, off the top of my head. And then we're into sectionals.
Yes.
And then hopefully districts and beyond. So what are practices going to be like over the next couple of weeks? Do you guys really ramp things up and you're working harder? Or are you slowing the pace down a little bit and tapering off a little bit, so to speak? What's the plan over the next couple of weeks as we prep for sectionals?
Yeah, so these next couple of weeks, we're going to keep going the same pace that we have been going this whole year.
Okay.
Until that final week before sectionals, then we're going to start tapering off working on our starts, working on our turns, and stuff like that.
Okay, and sectionals are going to be out at Spire.
Yes.
Again, so we'll post all that information. People right down the street, not too far away. Obviously, Spire is a great facility, and come out and support boys and girls swim as we hit that sectional level. Again, our boys, we get away from sort of the team aspect at that point, and you guys are sort of off on your own as individuals, very similar to wrestling at the end of the year. And so, do you know what events you're gonna do? Will you do all the events that you've talked about as normal?
Yes.
And essentially the butterfly, and any goals for you personally as you move into that sectional area?
The hope is to make it to districts.
Okay.
We'll see.
Okay.
The relays are projected to make it to districts.
Okay.
Or
Excellent.
we're going to try to,
Yeah,
at least.
that's the goal. Okay, and districts will be down at Cleveland State as they always are, and they run a great meet down there as well. So, Jonathan, we wish you thanks for joining us today. Before we leave, I've got a couple of crazy questions, but we certainly wish you nothing but the best. As a senior, enjoy senior night tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you for all that you've done for our program. I'm going to say that to our swimmers and their parents again tonight, but we really appreciate the leadership you've given to the team over your years here at Perry, and we know good things are ahead for you, so best of luck.
Thank you.
So let's get to know Jonathan a little bit more here. Do you have a favorite food?
My favorite food is probably spaghetti and meatballs.
Okay. Homemade, or like a favorite restaurant that might have a good spaghetti and meatballs recommendation for our
I'd rather
listeners?
do homemade.
Okay,
than going
homemade. So
out.
sorry you can't give a recommendation there. How about favorite subject in school?
I like music,
Okay,
so choir's my favorite class.
that's awesome. That's a unique answer.
Yes.
We've run the gamut this year. After 20 weeks, I
you're
guess we're
right.
going to, but that's awesome. I love that. Your favorite movie or television show or series?
Ooh, I like watching Jeopardy.
Okay, awesome. Favorite memory from Perry? Athletically, it can be as a young kid all the way in elementary, all the way up to your high school years. What are you thinking?
I'd say one of my favorite memories is going to New York City with the music department.
Oh,
That was a pretty fun trip.
okay, cool. It's fun. Anytime, I think our school district as a whole gives a lot of opportunities for travel.
Yes.
Our 8th grade trip to Washington and all kinds. I know there's band goes to Florida, and as Audrey mentioned, we went to Florida as a basketball program a couple years ago. They're just fun.
Yeah.
They're good. It's a good bonding experience
Yes.
for the kids and everything. Any hobbies away from the swimming pool?
Yeah, I'm a music person.
Okay.
So I play a lot of piano and I
Okay.
sing
Okay.
too.
So how long have you been playing piano? Sidebar here.
Since I was 10 years old.
Okay, awesome. That's pretty sweet. I've always wanted to play a musical instrument. I took guitar lessons. I could never get over the hump. If you could visit any place in the world, money's not an object, where is Jonathan heading?
I think I'm going to copy Audrey and
Okay.
I'm going to say Hawaii too.
Not a
Yeah.
bad answer, especially when it's been negative 10 degrees or whatever this week.
Yeah.
It'd be a great place. All right, Jonathan, again, thanks for joining us. We
Thank
really
you.
appreciate it. Best of luck on the rest of the season. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Looking forward to some fun here over the next few weeks.
Yeah, again, get out tonight. If you're listening here, to get out to senior night, support the handful of seniors that are going to swim here tonight. Again, 5:30 festivities begin?
5:30 ballpark festivities will begin. We'll intro everybody, and then the meet will start right around 6 o'clock. And you can catch it on the live stream as well if you can't make it out in person. So look for that on our social media platforms, and we'll send that out here shortly.
And just to put a bow on last weekend for the swim, we talked about the girls winning their 6th CVC, the boys,
Right.
but there were also some individuals that swam very well last
Yeah,
weekend.
not shockingly, Brody Hicks, as we talked a little bit about earlier, he was first place in the 50 free and the 100 fly. The 100 fly was a new meet record, 51.71, and that broke a 26-year-old record. And if people don't know, the CVC has an amazingly strong history of swim, dominated a lot by Hawken. They won
Yes.
like 18 consecutive girls state championships, not CVC championships, state championships in a row. And they are very strong. Chagrin is very strong. Beechwood is very strong. Orange is very strong. So not only did Brody finish first in both of those events against all of those schools, he smashed the meet record that was, again, 26 years old, and it was actually set by somebody who went on to do some Olympic qualifying and into that realm of things. So obviously a very talented swimmer in his own right. I don't know his name off the top, but again, to break that record just speaks to where Brody's at as a sophomore. And what we're looking for from him as we move on.
Yeah, and when we had him earlier this year on the podcast, he talked about the goals that he has already set for himself. So another step to get to where he wanted to accomplish here this season for the swim team.
Yep. And so I know Noel Griffith was also first in the 50 free and second in the 100 free. And again, going up against those schools that I just mentioned, when you're in first place in those, you're going to do some damage. Here at the upcoming sectional and district meet, and I know as we had Noel on, we've had Brody on, what their goals are as we get to this level of the season, and this postseason becomes sort of their focus.
So Chagrin Falls was a topic earlier on. Hawken is going to be now the new theme that we have with the swim meet last week. The girls played there yesterday. The boys tonight here on Friday host Hawken in kind of another revenge game. Yeah,
another revenge game. It was game 3 for us. The boys only have 2 losses on the year, and both in the CVC. Hawken took it to us in the second half over at their place. I think our lack, and rightly so. We again only game 3. The guys had only been together for 10 days to 2 weeks. I'm really interested tonight to see. How I know Coach Ice and his staff are going to have a good plan to attack some of the strengths of Hawken. And I know our boys are in better shape than they were back in mid-December. So we're about a month and a half later. And in a home game, hopefully come on out student section, show up for us, and make some noise against these very talented Hawken team. They have a freshman who he scored 26 or 28 on us. They have a very strong team, so it'll be an exciting game. Obviously, from a CVC perspective, as we talked with the girls, they're going to need this game, and then some help from other schools in the division to be relevant in the CVC from a championship standpoint. So it all starts tonight with Hawken, and I know our boys will be ready to go. So hopefully our student section can bring it a little bit, and we'll get a little home court advantage. We'll take every little advantage we can get.
And let's just circle back 1 week ago. Today was the Harvey game, and that was a back and forth game. The Pirates trailed going into the fourth quarter, and then started playing defense, started hitting their shots, and came away with that victory.
Yeah, and that has sort of been Harvey's Achilles heel all year long, and so I certainly wasn't overly excited. We were down 9, I think, going into the fourth quarter. But at the same point, we knew we could probably make a run, and we did. We started off 11-0 run in that fourth quarter. And I know I talked to Coach Monty after the game, former Perry coach, and he's just sort of pulling his hair out. They're a very talented team.
Yes.
They're not, it's certainly not indicative of their record this year. They've lost, I think, 5 games where they've led in the fourth quarter by more than 6 points. That doesn't happen a lot. And so I know they're going to continue to work hard. And so it's hats off to our kids for coming out in that fourth quarter and getting done what they need to get done.
So this week, the boys dropped 1 slot in the RPI ranking. They dropped to number 6. Again, still plenty of season left, but as those will start to come out weekly, that's the second one, and they went from 5 down to 6.
Yeah, and the girls' draw is February 2nd, so we'll know where we are as of that date. The boys is February 9th, Super Bowl Sunday. The boys' draw will happen, so we'll count all the games up until that point. And, I'm very happy, obviously, where we're at. Again, there's 46 teams or so on the boys' side, just like the girls. We're Division 4. So, again, there used to only be 4 divisions in girls and boys basketball. There are now 7. So we're middle, just like football. Football has 7, and we're Division 4 school there. So it's not shocking that we're in that realm on boys and girls basketball. And but to be 8, you said 8, number 6 overall. So it means we'll pick 6th, and sort of have a good shot to again hopefully make some noise. That same theme that we've talked about. peaking at the end of the season, giving our best chance to go compete for a CVC championship, and then go compete for a sectional and district and regional championship as well.
Now, as ADs, have you guys fought to have that draw early in the day on Super Bowl Sunday?
Yeah,
or
2 p.m.
Are we going to wait and push it to 6 right to
No,
kickoff?
that would not be good. We
Yeah.
get no one to show up probably. Everybody be at a party or a Super Bowl get together. But 2 p.m. On those respective Sundays. And so with 46 schools, that probably will last about an hour, but we'll see. We'll know where we're heading. You know, you got to envision it's the entire Northeast District. We stretch from Lorain County all the way south down into Medina area and all the way over to Youngstown. So sort of that whole corridor of schools. Our district games are going to be probably all over the place and not going to be, it's a little bit different when you have to go to 7 divisions, and the Northeast District Board does a great job of putting all those sites together. Not everybody wants to host. We're going to host some girls games here for Division III this year instead of Division I. We've had one here since I've started, but we're Division III host this year, and so I don't know where we're going to end up playing, but I know our coaches will be focused on getting us the best path to play as long as we can into the postseason.
So get out, support the boys here tonight on Friday against Harvey. Then they have a game tomorrow over at North, so a nice little back-to-back for them coming up. On the wrestling side, let's start on the boys' side. Last week, they were out in the Toledo area in Maumee and had another great showing for that group.
Yeah, and again, we go to those type of tournaments. It's a 2-day tournament. They leave Thursday after practice. They're checking into a hotel. They start wrestling early in the day on Friday, and it's a 2-day grueling event. But again, the idea behind it is we know we're not going to go out there and have every kid win a championship. And in fact, we had no kids win a championship. But we're wrestling kids from all over the country who are coming to this tournament. It's obviously in the Toledo area, so it's easy to get to from Michigan and Indiana, Ohio, and the surrounding states where wrestling is really strong. And so hats off to what I want to promote, I think, from last week that the coaches were so impressed with was Chance Schlau, finished 3rd. Had really, really tough matches, and against some highly ranked kids, and he beat them in order to take 3rd at a tournament like Maumee Bay, where there were something like 60 teams involved in that tournament. Hats off to him, and all of our kids wrestled hard. So it's not to say or take anything away from that. It's just a really tough tournament, but we know it's going to pay dividends down the road. When we get to, it'll help us with state duels, which I know is one of our main focuses coming up. CVC is our focus this week. So just like swim last week, Berkshire is hosting the CVC meet for boys this week and girls. We'll talk about the girls in a second. They're going to a different tournament because we weren't sure that the CVC was actually going to end up with a girls tournament. So we'll get into that in a minute. But I know the boys are focused on sort of reclaiming the Chagrin Valley Conference title this weekend. So last weekend at Maumee Bay is going to help for this weekend, and it's going to help when we host state duels. We've been seeded number 2 in the Northeast region, so we get to host 3 other schools, 4 total here on Saturday, February 1. Wrestling will start at 10 a.m. We have Padua, West G, and Benedictine all coming here, and the winners. We wrestle, I believe it's West G first, Padua and Benedictine will wrestle. The winners will wrestle the winners. And whoever comes out of that championship match on Saturday the 1st qualifies for the state dual wrestling competition down in Columbus at Bishop Watterson the following Saturday, February 8th. So I know we've got an important next couple of weeks coming up from a wrestling standpoint. And then before we know it, they're going to be into their sectionals, districts, and ultimately states. And so all of these, we've wrestled some really tough tournaments on both the boys and girls side this year, but in prep for what's going to be hopefully a fun postseason run. And we'll have Coach Trent on maybe next week as we can get into preview, that state duel and how it's a little different mentality-wise from a tournament and a big tournament where you're going, 2 full days of wrestling, and now it's sort of condensed in a dual meet. You're down, and you need everybody to go out there and win and do their best.
So for the fans that want to go support tomorrow Brookshire. What time does the events begin?
Yeah, we're going to start tonight out at 5 o'clock out at Berkshire tonight. So it's a 2-day event for the boys, and then 10 a.m. on Saturday.
Okay.
So I'm going to be out there Saturday morning rooting the team on, and hopefully we can bring home a CVC championship.
And you mentioned the girls already had a prior commitment. Where are they this weekend?
They are at Iron Maiden, nice 1980s rock
Right.
band reference, Iron Maiden tournament in Bellefontaine, Ohio. And so they're leaving tonight. Actually, they will spend the night in prep because they start early tomorrow morning. They got to weigh in early, and they start. It's a full day of, again, tough competition. So we're a little disappointed we couldn't be at the CVC tournament this weekend for the girls. We weren't sure what that was going to look like.
Sure.
At the beginning of the year when we're putting the schedule, and actually, we're putting schedules together a year in advance. Like pretty much our boys and girls basketball schedules are done for next year. Wrestling is working on their scheduling for next year. So we know now that the likelihood, we've got about 50 girls that are going to wrestle at the Chagrin Valley Conference tournament. So it's going to be a smaller level tournament. And again, the Iron Maiden will help us, the girls, as we've talked the last couple of weeks, to Gigi last week. It'll really help with our postseason prep this weekend at Iron Maiden. So, but Brian Hiscox and the guys and gals over at Fairport do a great job. And I know we're looking forward to getting girls wrestling included into that CVC on a yearly basis, each and every year.
And maybe this isn't a fair question,
Yeah.
but as an athletic director, does the CVC try to pressure you at all to leave the Iron Maiden tournament and come wrestle this weekend in your own conference tournament, or do they understand that, hey, this was already booked? And
Right. They've been very understanding. We're one of 3 schools that won't be, that have girls wrestling that won't be there. So we're certainly not the only one, but we really started to get a count of the number of girls that we're going to be able to wrestle this weekend at Berkshire. About, right at the beginning of the season, and again, our schedule is pretty much complete. We really had no idea that girls.
Right.
So it just tells you that, like, we didn't think it was going to happen, and so that tells you how popular it's become at schools, not even throughout our conference, but throughout the state, and it's growing and growing and growing, and it's great news for the sport. And we'll certainly look forward to going out there next year at the CVC tournament and competing with both boys and girls teams.
And the last winter sport that is going on that we haven't talked about, gymnastics.
Yeah, again, sort of a broken record here with our gymnastics team. They practice off-site. They're 3 to 4 days a week out at Legs and Menor. They're traveling all over the place. Again, similarities to girls wrestling, who have to go get a hotel tonight and travel 3 hours to go wrestle in a big-time tournament. The girls are doing the same thing. We're going to schools like Hudson and Brecksville and Cincinnati to compete. And so I know Coach Arup's, Jessica's done a great job. We actually have a team. Ella Gigante is a little injured right now, so once she gets healthy, which we're hopeful she can for the postseason, we can compete as a full Perry Pirate squad. And again, there's no CVC tournament, unfortunately. There's no something where they can sort of measure how they're doing from a conference standpoint. So their focus is on that sectional and district tournament. And I know we have a couple of girls that with ultimate goals of getting down to that state meet. So we hope to have one of them on here in the coming weeks from a gymnastics side.
Yeah, so another jam-packed week of Perry sports here in the winter. Again, if you can come out tonight here on Friday, swimming going on, which is senior night, boys basketball with Hawken. You have the 7th grade middle school game. There's a lot going on
We'll be packed
here
tonight.
at Perry. So.
Parking spots will be at a premium. At least it's not minus 10 or 15
You're right.
degrees. Not a heat wave either, but at least it's going to be a little bit bearable as you walk in from the parking lot. So we hope to see everybody out. What is shaping up into a great weekend here for athletics.
Yeah, and plenty of events. If you can't make it here, as we talked about, go back, circle back in the pod a couple seconds, and you'll hear where wrestling's at, or where swimming might be going, and all those events that are coming up this weekend, all along the Perry Athletics, and it gets us just ready for another exciting week next week for 21.
Definitely. And Gene, I appreciate your time and your efforts. Here we are, week 20 already of our podcast, and we appreciate everybody that tunes in on a weekly basis. I know our numbers have been going up, so send it to a friend or a family member, that may not even be in the Perry, or maybe they're a Perry fan, and they watch a lot of live streams, and we try to give some backstories to our athletes and get to know them a little bit better, and a little bit of behind the curtain, if you will, from what happens on a weekly basis in our athletic department. So until next week, until week 21, go Pirates. Thanks for joining us.